Hey guys, how you doing? How you doing, guys? Back. Let's do it. Gotta minimize this a little bit. There we go. And then let's get on this. We got this now. Boy, this is tough here. It's getting tight. There we go. Okay, we'll try one more, but and then we gotta get back because it's the only right thing to do. Let's see. Okay, he's gonna do the exchange variation. Gotta get outside the pawn chain. And then next is knight to d, bd7. Okay. Come on, baby. He might try something like that. Oh, interesting. So he didn't do that. Then you castle, and then now you develop your rook. I could actually also... Oh! Potential smother mate coming in. So it's not over till it's over. I think I potentially can win the bishop if I'm not mistaken here. No. I was thinking I could take here, but he can actually take there. Well, I guess then I could take there. Well, no, then he takes with the queen and covers that. So I don't think that'll work. I do have a fork, so... no, because then he could take. If I take rook takes... Bishop, I'm just going to play my queen in. He has that there. I want to play knight in here. It's kind of my idea. But I have to be careful not to hang this pawn on e6, so... Knight there does pick up the entire game. That actually will win the... No, because then the queen could take. Snap. So I can't do that. I'll just have to retreat back, and then now I can play that move. That was a blunder. Wham. Okay. We'll call it a day on that, do the London system. Because I'll show you the line that I was talking about here. This would work here. I'll show you back here. If I played here, then he took here, I took there, he took there and that. But the problem is, he could actually just take here. And then I'm stuck with a problem. And let's say he tries developing his knight. I have this here. And I think that this knight move would have actually held. His knight move would have held that spot. So I think I was very blessed that he played g6, which was actually a mistake because it allows there. So probably if he plays that and I play there, probably just retreat back at that point. He might try something like that, but then I think he, if I'm not mistaken, he loses because of that. So he can't really open up the position. Let's see, where did I want to just check something real quick to see where did I go wrong here, if there's any. So far so good. So there. Oh, I have a pass pawn. Okay, I kind of get. Oh, drat. What if he plays there? How do you handle? You just win another pawn. Oh. Snap. Oh, I missed that. Wow, I found one that's better. Oh, wow. That one's even better. Snikes, this one's a 3.2. This one's a 4.7. Wow. Doesn't he go here though? Let me see. Something up material. So that's where I kind of blundered. If queen takes. Okay, the rook side. Oh, okay. Wham. So you win a... So I need to now learn from that. Okay. Just wanted to take a look at that. So now we'll get to our London system studies and we'll continue. I just wanted to go over that with you guys. Okay. Alrighty then. Let's do this thing. Kind of the standard setup of the London system, but this is actually the reverse ready. They're saying that instead of playing knight bd2, you can actually play a4, a6, and that could be tossed in before knight to knight bd2. You could toss that in if you want, but it's okay to toss in knight bd2 anyways, so it's not a bad thing. It's not like a losing move or a horrible move or anything. It's just an in-between move if you'd like. And then rook c8 is okay, but there's actually a better move. Knight to e4. It frees black's position up and allows for some trades, so that if the knight traded, the bishop could trade, and it kind of Otherwise, what happens is black's going to get into like a bind, and he's not going to be able to get out of his attack, his binding attack. Okay, let me get back. Hold on. Okay, good. There we go. So, okay, there modifier. So, yeah, that's basically what the idea of knight is to get out of the bind. Otherwise, black will just get all tangled up, and that's kind of what happens. In black's mind, they're thinking that if I take, I can open up the position, but I don't know. I think like what the author said, that knight to e4 is actually a better move because it allows his bishop to have free scope, the knight, and then this bishop could trade after knight trades. So, but a4 was played. This is a good move, but they're saying that an interesting move for white would be queen to b3, which it actually comes from a game, V. Burnick versus K. Lancer. It was played in 2007. The city's name is capital B-A-K-U, Baku or something like that. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But it was so that's kind of where this game came from. A6, and do you see how black's basically getting himself into a tangled web that he can't get out of? So c4, c takes d4, e takes d4, and then a5. But it's cute kind of what white does. Goes queen to a3. It's like, what? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Really? What are you doing? He's preparing b4, of course. We have to look at everything. What piece or what pawn can we fling in there? Boom, b4. It's like, let's rip it open. Come on. Or if black allows us, b4, b5, and then knight pawn to b5. Uh, 17, b4. Knight c6, wham, b5. b4. Now we're protecting the pawn twice, because we know what he's going to do, double up his rooks, and then we go d5, and it's like, and it's so funny. Black this is what the author is saying, and black has a chokehold in the game, the game that I told you. At some point, white will play b3, bishop, knight to d4, and potentially knight into c6. That's kind of his idea. That's not kind of his idea. That is his idea. Okay. Let's see. So b4. There's also a takes b4, queen takes b4, knight f, a, and I believe, I think a gets an exclam if I'm not mistaken. Nope, a5 doesn't get an exclam. B takes a5, rook takes a5, knight c6, takes, and then rook comes back attacking the knight. Knight moves, and then wham, c5, and white's the one that's basically just crunching the position because the pawn can't take. Of course, wham, see you later. So the pin wins. So a4, a6, knight to, rook to e1, because you kind of wanna you wanna make sure that potentially the knight has a spot to get to, if need be, to reroute, something like that. Black plays a dubious move, which is queen c7. It's not. It's like, why are you walking right into a pin? That's crazy. Best is actually rook c7. I know the rook's in a pin too, but you have to get your queen to a8 and kind of get some attack going, something. But then bishop b, and there you go. So rook e1, dubious move. Bishop d3. This prepares for the queen to reroute to d2 to e2. Excuse me, and e4, e5. Queen b4. b8. Queen e2, queen a8, and then e4. Wham. White stands better. This is what he says. He has annexed a lot of space in the center. Annexed is taken over. It's another word for taken over. A lot of space in the center, and e5 to follow, which could yield white a winning attack. So if allotted, we're going to go e5, and we're going to open up the center with great furiosity. So there is, he played knight d8, e8. There is c takes, and rook f d8. Mistake. Because e5, remember the furious attack that's coming down the pike? Wham. There, and then knight d, and then e6. And now this right here, this move, is very pleasant for, is very good for white, but very unpleasant for black. So white's getting a mega attack because you would not want to take and then have that just jumping down your throat right there. Now look how wrecked his position is, black's. His king's unsafe, and he's basically going down in flames. So we're going back to 15. Knight e7, e8. Sorry, not e7, e8. d4. Now we got a bind on our opponent. d8, rook d8. A to b1, because we're predicting that we're going to need to play c4 sometime in the future. And this bishop is eyeing. This bishop here eyes the b2 pawn. So if we do a prophylactic move of rook a b1, we then have the luxury of playing pawn to c4, guys. There's pawn c4, and now white has a bind like there's no tomorrow on black. It's like, wow. And that's an interesting move. Then we go wham, knight g5. This prepares to unleash the queen into the fray. And then the knight comes in. We retreat back. It's the whole idea about back here. If you're wondering what this is, knight g5, it's a one-move idea. It's interesting because the whole idea is based on h6. White wants to provoke h6 so that's a lingering target later on that could be bullseyed with the scope of a bishop. Like our bishop can get here, our little sniper bishop could take scope on h6. That's kind of why g5 was played, but it's a one-move idea, so you have to make sure that your moves are more than one move. e5. Bishop c2, c6. Let me make sure. Hold on. I want to make sure that I'm at the right point. Good. Okay. I'm almost to my point in my notes. Okay, there. Check and takes, and then e5. And e5. Otherwise, white himself would play e5. So if black doesn't play e5, and let's say he plays some sort of passive move, white's going to play, hey, how you doing? White's going to play e5. So black has to, even though it's going to cost an impassing move, he's got to do that. And then he plays there. Very dubious. The correct line would have been f takes e, and then queen d3, which eyes the g6 pawn. Yeah, lots of Londons. Yeah, we're going over the London system, play the London system, and so we're going over that. There's a ton more to come too. We're trying to get the London system under our belt because there's so many games that grandmasters have played in the London system, and that there's subtle nuances that we're going to be going over. That's why we're doing it, and it's a really fun opening to learn. Yeah, I see the variation I played because. Okay. If you have a game that goes that you played the London system with, after our study here, we'll go over it. So e takes. Well, put the game in. You have to import it into yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to be on for a little bit, so you're more than welcome to come back and put your game in when you're ready. So, not a problem. But back to the idea on queen e6. It does look like it attacks the e4 pawn. Great. It does look like it attacks e4 pawn, but we have to remember that it's being protected 3 times, and the pawn's only being attacked twice. So this move really doesn't have any point. It would have been better to allow for this so that the rook can kind of get involved, and maybe you can even barricade off with e5. I know that's kind of a silly looking move, but e5 would stop the kingside thrust for white temporarily. Oh. That's cool. Bye bye. Okay. Queen takes, and then that's kind of the idea why taking would be good. Then now queen d3 to b3 eyes the or as Yaz would say in Maurice, eyeballs the b6 pawn, but we'll just say eyes the b6 pawn. So a6, and it's 96, and it's like, thank you very much. I get to gobble up another pawn. So the knight comes in and is attacking our bishop, and we really don't mind, so we go wham right on in. The knight goes, and then rook e to d1. Now we're taking over the open file. We don't really much mind even if the queen takes, because there's really nothing that the queen can do. This pawn's going to fall because we can take. So like if queen takes, we have bishop takes, and now this rook's under fire, Oops, my bad. Can't take. My bad there. The queen guards that pawn. So if it did that, wham, see you later. So it can't take. That's why the rook can move. And so d4 was played. Knight d4 to kind of get the knight out, maybe trade off. There is an idea of rook d to e8 to kind of, it's trying to win this pawn back, because now there's only one defender and two attackers. But now the knight retreats back. It's defending 2 points. The queen's under fire, and then queen c2, c7. We're now taking scope on a5 and preparing these 2 points here, because if the knight ever moved, we then can have an attack here with that, and then an attack there. So 2 points of attack. And then white does one cool thing. It takes second, plays b3. Now the position's solidified. White's up 1 whole pawn, and white will get out of this unscathed, and now he'll be a whole pawn up. And with a grandmaster, that's a 1 game. So that's why he didn't do that type of setup with rook f e8. Instead, he played knight to d4. So knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, queen d5. We're up a whole pawn. So the idea is, if we could trade down, we're going to have a 1 endgame. We're also going to, if the queen takes here, we can take like this, and then have a firm pawn chain. One whole pawn chain. We'll have 2 pawn islands, because this is considered a pawn island. This is considered. So black has 3 pawn islands, because that's 1. This this is 1 for black, 2, and that's 3. White has just 2. So he stands better in an endgame. That didn't happen. So rook f e8, rook to e1, guard the pawn, and then we just come crushing in with takes, and we don't want to take this way, because then he would take here and play rook takes, and now we're in a big time pickle. Yes, we got a passed pawn, but he's got a bishop and rook, and that's ugly. You don't want that. So he took away towards the center, and he has a passed pawn. He did weaken himself, but if you notice something, yes, they each have 3 pawn islands, but look at the quality of white's pawn islands. He's got 2 connectors, 2 connectors, connectors. There's 2 isolated pawn islands for black, and then 1 chain, and that's nothing. So there's, actually I'm wrong, I'm sorry, there's only 2 pawn islands, my bad, for white, because this is 1 pawn if that was to just get pushed. So it's 3 versus 2 still. Rook b4, b3. Now we're starting to put pawns on the opposite color of black's bishop, and we're starting to solidify our advantage. I want to see how many pawns. I think he's got 5, and we have, let's see, 2, 4. Wow, we have 7, and he's got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're up 2 whole pawns. F6, rook b, and now we're taking scope on that pawn. And he plays c. We bring our rook up. We're doubling up because we're not worried. You can give back. We have 7 pawns. He has 5, so you can give back a pawn for a positional advantage. Don't be afraid to give material back if you need to convert into a winning game. Right? And wham! Now we have. He's got 4, and we got, I think, let's see, 6. So we're 2 up again. takes. Now we have 5 again. Check, check. And here I want to let you guys decide what's the move that white plays here. And if you can, give a line of a move idea. If you guys have any ideas, a move for white, I'll give you guys some time. Think strategic. Think solid. Think of a solid move, and feel free to put your into the box and send it, and we'll talk about the move ideas to see if you guys are on the right track, because it's important to see what to play for yourselves in this situation. So what would white play here? White to play and win. I'll give you guys till 12:10, and then I'll show you the move. Alright, I know you guys solved it. D6. And if you guys watch this on a pre-recording, stop it and try to solve it for yourself, because it's really good to know which moves to play. So he takes, we take, and of course he plays rook c3. And I know you guys see this is the old classic skewer. Okay, I'll give you guys just a second. And then, okay, what you should do at this moment, if you're watching it as a pre-recorded on YouTube or on Twitch, stop it and solve the puzzle from here, okay? So H, and then if he takes, of course you guys see what happens. You skewer the rook. So and black resigned at this point. This is the summary. We have to go back, and then we'll start into our puzzles. Yeah. Okay. He's saying that if black goes rook to c7, where's rook c7? Rook c7. Hold on, I'm trying to find rook c. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Where's rook c7? Rook c7. Hold on. What am I missing here? Let me make sure, because okay, where it says, okay, if black plans, his plan is to go rook to c7. This is what it says, and rook to a6. So if he goes rook c7 and then queen to a8, like what we're talking here, just control the center with e4. So what we need to do is, if he plans on going like here and then rook c7, just control the center with e4. and you will acquire a small but firm space advantage to work with. And Black's Queen, if Black's Queen reaches A8, like what we're talking about, then advance. If he plays something like this, then advance D5. And both the A queen and the bishop on B stand looking silly at the pawn chain D5 and E4. So that's what they're saying. Is if he plays here, you just lock down the position, and the queen and bishop look very silly on the side of the board. Like, what did you accomplish by putting your queen over there? Not much. So just remember that. When they start attacking on the wing, attack in the center, and you can't go wrong, usually. Okay, let's do some puzzles. Okay, dokie. Oh, sweet. So rook takes, so rook took the pawn. You guys have any ideas on this? I'll be more than happy to take the ideas. Let's see, one second. I'll let you guys take an idea and put in the chat box what move you guys think, and we'll go over it. I'll be right back. thinking about, excuse me, I'm thinking about knight b5 check. If king e6, we go f5 check, not capital F, just f5 check. So if bishop takes f5, rook takes e7 check, king takes e7, and then knight takes not knight, what am I doing? That did not work out the way I thought it was. Let me see here. Okay, I have to calculate this out here. There. Oh, and then I retreat back. Okay. Then you retreat back to d4. That's right. And then when the king moves either here or there, then you grab. Okay, I gotcha. Now I have it right. Okay. I wanted to make sure I put it in right. b5 check, king e6, f5 check, bishop takes f5, knight d4 check, king f6, rook takes e7 check, king takes e7, and then knight takes f5. That should be the line there. And if we do this here, if we do knight b5 check, and then king c6, we just play rook takes e7, and that's the other line. It's the best I can see. I'm trying to see, do we have anything else? And if he rather than the bishop takes, copy here, and then I'll paste this in so I don't have to write it. If f5 and then king takes f5, you have rook takes e7. That's as well. So I'm pretty sure it's knight b5. And then there we go. Boom, baby. Gotta love it. We'll give that a like. There we go. Well, I'll show you all lines. Hold on. I should show you all the lines that we were talking about. If the king takes here, we win there. And if the king moves, what do we play? wham. Actually, sorry, we don't do that right away. So we actually have to first take. When the king takes, then we take with the pawn. There we go. That's one line. And then if the king comes over here, we just play rook takes, and then king takes b, and we got that. And then if he moves, I think, did we do this already? Yeah, we did that line. Yeah. So he's gonna lose. Gotcha. Okay. So I wanted to show you that those lines. Hold on. Well, let's play one non-rated game, and then we'll get right back into it. Or a casual. If we don't get one by 12:26, we'll go right back into puzzles. Let's take a look. Almost there. Let's see. There's 26. Get ready. Almost. Okay, cancel. We canceled and back into puzzles. So we gave it a minute. Nobody's out there to play, and so let's get right back into our studies. Alrighty. Okay, so I played c5. I'm thinking c6. Knight c6. Knight c6. It threatens this point and here. It threatens those two to win the bishop. We'll win the bishop two ways. Either there or there, because then the bishop will, no, sorry. Here and here we win the bishop. Here and here we win the knight. Because the bishop will have to give way and the knight will fall. It'll either go here, here, or there. And either way, we come smashing in with our bishop. So here, and if the bishop tries to stop us, here, if the bishop tries to stop us, you know, from winning the bishop here, we just revert to our plan of knight to a, so knight c6, and if bishop d6, we play knight a7, and bishop moves, the bishop can move to b7, or the bishop can move to a6. Then we take bishop takes d7, and we win a piece. 1 second. Excuse me. Allergies, really bad sometimes. And then if we I'll repost in another line here, copy, and if the bishop doesn't go to B6, and let's say it goes to B8, right? We go knight goes to E7, check. The king moves to either H8 or king H7, and we play knight takes C8. I'm pretty sure on this. And then now we play bishop takes. That's a good one. We'll rate it. We'll give it a rating. Let's see here. Boy, I'd love to play queen G6 and then knight to F8, but this knight would trade off the knight, so that wouldn't work. Let's see, what are we missing here? What are we missing here? Trying to see if we play queen G6. If we play queen G6, 6, check, knight F. Actually, not if knight there, he loses. So king E. King D8. Knight takes A6. Takes E6, check. And then if the king goes to, we'll say C8. Let's see what would we play. So this is kind of the idea right here. And then here, there, and there. trying to see what to do when the king gets to c8 though. Has to be. Are we missing anything here? We win the pawn back, but I don't know if that's. Well, we could play after king c8. If we play knight c5, attacking the queen, so the queen would, if the queen went to d8, I could play queen e6, e6, check, and if the king goes to b8, then we potentially can move our knight in here. That's be interesting for sure. That's kind of another line, the continuation of the prior line. Let's try, and we'll do one. Oops. Oh, we'll think about it. Create a game. We'll give it 1 minute, and if nothing happens in a minute, then we'll go back into our puzzles. It kind of gives us a slight break away from the puzzle. Let's try creating a new one. Well, we'll look into it, okay? There we go. We'll go all the way down to 1500 so that we can do a casual. Maybe we'll spread the limit a little bit. Oh, it's a game. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Uh-oh. It's okay. We'll finish this and then we'll get to your game. Oh, sorry. I'll get you. I didn't know it was a game. We'll get it. Don't worry. I thought it was something else. Because sometimes I get messaged different things for sure. Not the good things. So I wanted to make sure. Okay. We'll go over it. This is the classical line of the French. I'm going to try to see if I can't trade off my bishop, my light square bishop, and then castle queen size. That's true. That's good. Chess is a good game for players to learn. Yep. My idea is to see if I can't jump in there, but I had to get castled first. Well, it takes a while to get good at chess. It's not an overnight thing for sure. If he pushes, we got him. Yeah. It takes a long time, but trust me, it's so worth it. It helps you with your thinking. You'll be able to think better, and it improves grades dramatically. So if you're in a field like that you want to raise your grades, it helps kids and adults to. Oops, let's see here. Okay, there, and then we'll take there. It's just good. It's an all-around good game to play. And then we'll look at your game in just a sec. This should be over pretty soon. We're 2 pawns up and we're solidifying our position, so we're gonna win this for sure. We just have to hold. We have to see if we can't get. Oh, nice. Okay. Now we're attacking here. Oh, okay. Oh, let's just see if we can't just trade that off. Kind of. We don't. He's trying to enter there, and we don't want that to happen. It's just weakening them themselves all over the place. If the rook takes, we're going to take back. If the pawn takes, we're going to push. Because then that stops his advance. So I'd probably try something like that. We got this. Okay, want to keep an eye on this here. Then I'm going to come up there. I'm actually probably going to push and then come up to c7. Exactly, as you sow, so shall you reap. I like that. Hey, how you doing? So I have to be careful. I can't trade that off. That'd be horrible. If I get my king involved, I'm doing real good. I'm not getting greedy on this pawn. No, I could take the pawn anytime I want. It's all over now. Boom. You're funny. Okay, let's take a look at this game here. Hold on, I'll pull up a new one just in case I mess up something. Okay. How do let me see. How do I... There we go. Gotcha. Okay. There we go. We'll take a look at this, that game that I have to log off, and if you have any questions on it. Oh, we played the King's Indian. Interesting. White played it right all the way through. Still good. Actually, the best of the line is Knight BD2. BD2 is actually the best of the lines. This is that, because then if he takes, you can actually take back, and then you have Queen C. He has Queen C2 with a potential, because he'll castle, and then at this point you have an opportunity to castle, or playing Queen B C2, and this allows for castle queenside, and then now you have, or you could do it in between. White could do an in between move, H4. And then if he goes H6, then you castle, preparing for knight to E5 with, if he takes, that actually helps you because then you can pry the center open, or the person. Yes, I would. That's kind of why I would do that, is castle queenside. One sec, I got a cough for just a sec. Allergies. Sorry, this have allergies every once in a while. It's, there we go. Alrighty. So C takes. Okay, so far so good for white. Actually, now I prefer black here. I actually prefer black in this line. I believe that black is actually better here. So I think at this moment, yeah, you're better. Yeah, white has a better game so far. I'm surprised he didn't grab this, because that's a free pawn. Then after takes, he grabs that, and then you have to retreat back something like this, or retreat there. So surprised you, yeah. Exactly, it is good improvement. Good job. Oh, was it 1 minute? Okay. My teacher taught me, my grandmaster teacher, he's passed on to be with the Lord, but he taught me that what you want to do if you're wanting to improve in chess, you want to kind of do longer games. The 1 minute games are fun and everything, but you want to kind of do like at least 10 minute games or more, because then it allows you to spot these ideas like winning a pawn here, and you can strategize around that. And then what you can do is then you can take your knowledge from your 10-minute game and apply it to your 1 or 5-minute games. That's what he taught me. Okay, Queen D. So far so good. That's good. Okay, rook. I gotta say, I prefer, at this point, I prefer white. Because the only reason I prefer white is his white's development. White's more developed. White does have one problem though. White has weakened king side, so at the proper moment, I probably would play g5, maybe king to h8, and then g5 at the right moment. Because I don't know if I would have weakened my queen side at all. I might have maybe played my knight, tried to get some attack over here. Maybe knight c2, e7 to g6, and maybe traded off a bishop. So that's kind of what I might have actually played. Knight takes, bishop takes, rook takes. Okay, that was the critical phase in the game. It should with proper play end up a draw, because nice. That was actually, I like e4. That was a really good move. Really good move. Oh, it takes. Queen b4, where was that? After e5, let me see. Pawn e5, e5. Oh, here we go. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Yikes. Well, yeah, yikes. Yeah, that was right. You could have taken that for sure. Yikes. You might have to just plainly sacrifice there. I know it sounds kind of like not fun. You're going to be down a rook, but like if he goes over here trying to keep the pressure alive, you have this. Wham, so. And potentially you have that too. And if he comes over here, you could actually push up one. You could bring your rook up. He might try taking. But I don't know. I think you'll still be okay with rook like that. I actually believe you know what's so weird? I actually prefer black here. I know that's kind of strange. This prepares rook to f3, and potentially you have rook f6, rook e6 to f6 with an idea of coming there as well. So I actually like I know this sounds weird. I like white here. I mean black here. And if you try something like that, what you can always do is bring your you could just move your king over here and just say, really, what are you actually doing now? Tell me. Because if he takes, you're good. So he can't do that. So if he tries like doubling to get the rook out, you can just move your king up. Not that. We don't want that. Get rid of that. We want king h7. Oh, FIDE, that's a true. How difficult is it to become a grandmaster? Ooh, it's pretty difficult to be a grandmaster. Do you guys have any questions about this before I log off? How black could play against the Castle Queenside? Oh, how could black play against Castle Queenside in London? Well, you probably want to, at this point, you're probably going to have to expand out. How are you going to do that? Probably an expansion push, because you're going to want to lock this down. He's going to try to start his upward thrust, and so what you're going to want to do is potentially trade off maybe a bishop. And so if he trades off like that, you play rook, and then you have your attack. And if he starts slamming the pawn up the board, then you can get an attack. And you would probably you wouldn't want to be as aggressive as this, but you'd want to you'd want to get something like this, and then you'd want to push onward and get these two pawns rolling. So let's see, what could he play here? Maybe bishop will just play something. Then if he plays up here, then you can push. You're just pushing onward and upward. And if he tries, let's see, just trying something here, then you can actually push there. And when pawn takes, queen takes, you have check, 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 check. And if knight intercepts, knight takes, pawn takes. Probably not takes like that. I'd probably first take with the rook. When the rook takes back, then play bishop there. And then when the rook slides over, now you can start bringing in the attack and something like that. You then have this here, so you got it. So white has to be really careful. So probably there, and So probably not, that's not the best then, because there's enough defense. Probably there. That's, now you eliminated, and the queen's under fire, so and then now you still have that. Yeah, so he does. White has a quicker attack. So do you guys have any other questions? Yes, have any other questions about the London? I'm still work in progress, so I'm not the champion of the London. I'm still learning as well, so I'm right along with you guys. The saying goes, the word amateur isn't a bad word, because amateur means that you're willing to learn more. So don't ever think that that word's bad. It means that you're constantly improving. That's what my teacher told me, is that improving is part of life. Oh, nice. Good job. Sweet. Good job. Keep it up, you know what I mean? Keep up you'll be strong. Just keep studying, okay? Do you guys have any other questions? Oh, okay. Alrighty. Sounds like a deal. So if you guys are good, then I'm gonna log. Good job, guys. Okay. Then that's good. You know what? It's always good to go over your games. But be cool, okay? Well, guys, I'll wait and see. Do you guys have any other... You guys don't have any questions before I log off? Okay. Okay. Perfect. Well, guys, you know what? Remember, you have to study to get better. That's just the whole thing. And try like what my teacher taught me, my Grandmaster teacher, is that you need to do longer games, at least 10 minutes, 15 he said is what he preferred, 10 to 15, because you're able to then use your tactics, strategy, and plans to set up. Then if you want to do a 5-minute or a 1-minute game, you could take what you learned from the 10-minute to 15-minute and apply it there. It's just so that you don't get into bad habits of making inaccurate moves, because what'll happen in a classic game, you get like 90 minutes and you can't win on time, so you can't rely on your instinct. And remember, like what Bruce Lee said, knowing is not enough. We must apply. So apply what you learned for the 15-minute, 10 to 15-minute games to your 1 to 5-minute games is good. And you got to be willing to kind of stop the 1 to 5-minute games, and then you'll do better. Trust me, that's what he says. You know, and knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. That's what we should live by. Like Hannibal Smith said, you got to keep pushing forward, and you got to be the one to make the difference. What that means is you have to be the one to push the tide of the battle. And sometimes a retreat may look like a retreat, but it's actually you're luring your opponent in for the takedown. And remember as well that, you know what, learn from your mistakes and improve. That's the whole thing. Let it roll right off your shoulders. And we did so good, guys. Quoting from Paul Bentley. Are you kidding me? We're doing great. Seriously? Yeah, we're doing great, guys. Okay, and I'll leave you with that. As Wesley So says, through the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless, and I'll see you guys next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening, guys, and I'll be back on, Lord willing, tomorrow, and we'll continue to keep going over our studies, puzzles, and some games, and if you guys got games, bring them and we'll go over them. Okay, be blessed, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.